Potholes really are a major blight on our roads here in the UK. What is the extent of the problem? What causes potholes, and what can we as a driver do to minimise the problem of potholes for other motorists? It's interesting looking at the information or the reasons given as to why local councils have refused compensation for potholes, and it really alerts us to something that we can all do to band together as motorists to improve the state of our roads. What is the general trend of potholes in our roads over the years, and what sort of damage does hitting a pothole do to our car? These are all things we're going to discuss in this video, but please let me know what it's like in your area. I live in the UK. A lot of our viewers come from the UK, but I'm really interested to know what the problem is like in other areas of the world. Do your local authorities keep on top of this problem? Or if you report a pothole, is it just something they look into but don't actually do anything about? Thinking about major issues, crime, healthcare, and other issues, it's often potholes that top the league table of things that annoy people or get on people's nerves. The Times recently reported that an estimate of £16.3 billion would be needed to repair all of the potholes in the UK. Where do they come from? Well, potholes vary in size, and they do vary to some extent in their cause, but in the main, general vibration of heavy traffic, heavy vehicles going over the road surface will cause vibrations and eventually break up the structure of the tarmac. Now, in summer, the tarmac actually softens, and the weight of vehicles going over them can actually cause imperfections and undulations or cause cracks to open up. Anytime you've got a crack opening up in the road surface, you've got a chance for water to get in. Now, what happens to water when it freezes? It expands, it opens up the crack even more. And this really causes these defects. You've got these cracks forming, and huge chunks of the tarmac come loose, leaving potholes. The problem is particularly acute around ironworks in the road, drain covers and inspection covers, where the tarmac has had a chance to have water ingress between it, and it's chipped away. We've got some pretty shocking potholes forming around ironworks over here. Now, impact to vehicles is quite serious. I've had this problem myself. I had 2 flat tyres hitting a pothole on a country road, and I wasn't travelling that fast because the road surface was so bad. I was only doing about 15 to 20 miles per hour, but it was just enough to catch this one edge on this particularly sharp and deep pothole, and it just ripped a hole in 2 tyres, which left me at the side of the road. I had to wait for a recovery vehicle because I only had 1 spare. And I know they would have struggled if I didn't have a spare to replace it. These tyre repair kits wouldn't have dealt with the problem that I had, and they would need to have towed my vehicle somewhere to get it repaired. Potholes don't just break or damage tyres, they can actually damage the rims. Effectively, hitting a pothole at speed is like the wheel slamming into a wall, and it can actually buckle the wheel, and a buckled wheel can affect the balance of the wheel. You usually need to get these wheels that have been buckled replaced, because repair is not always a safe option on these. It depends on who you go to, if they've got the specialist tools, and the severity of the damage. But in the main, in my experience, you need to replace these buckled wheels. You've also got all of the suspension components, which take a serious beating, and I've known springs to break, suspension systems to just buckle, and other major components attaching the suspension to the car have just sheared off or bent completely, affecting the alignment and the safety of the car, which results in quite a hefty bill. Looking at the average repair cost of hitting a pothole, it's around about £400 per incident. Pothole conditions generally fluctuate, and I think I have to be fair and say 2009 was a terrible year for potholes. There were potholes absolutely everywhere. And interestingly, things substantially improved by 2019, 2020. As we went into lockdown and through lockdown, the surface of the roads was dramatically improved, and there were fewer potholes, fewer pothole related incidents. But the trend is starting to go up again. Between 2022 and 2023, a total of 1.4 million potholes was repaired in England and Wales, which is down from 1.7 million the year before. So fewer repairs were carried out in the last year. The RAC, which deal with major breakdowns in the UK among their members, attended nearly 30,000 pothole related incidents. Now think about that. If the vehicle was serious enough to require assistance, we're not just talking about a puncture or a flat. They had to have a recovery vehicle come out to them to deal with the problem. The actual number of vehicles damaged is going to be substantially higher than that. The RSC actually maintains a pothole index, which is quite interesting. So they look at the likelihood of having an incident with a pothole compared with the likelihood 15 years ago. And you're currently 1.7 times more likely to have a pothole related incident than you were 15 years ago. Now, when you've got damage from a pothole, you claim against the council. But most of these claims, about 90% of these claims are rejected because the local council didn't know about the pothole. They'll thank you for reporting the pothole and they will generally go out and repair it within a couple of weeks. This highlights something that we can all do. We usually just drive around a pothole. It's a pothole that we see every single day and it just becomes part of our route. You know, on that bit of the road, you steer out, you go around the pothole, you carry on. But instead of doing that, let's report the potholes that we see. If we report them, the councils and the authorities become accountable to repair them. They also become aware of the potholes, and providing they repair the potholes within a timely manner, they absolve themselves of liability for incidents relating to that. Otherwise, lots of motorists are going to have their vehicles damaged by this pothole. Now, if you go to the local authority website for the area that manages the road, they've usually got some kind of pothole reporting system. But there's also a charity that's been set up by a company called Fix My Street, where you can report problems and they pass it on to the local authority. And working together as motorists, it doesn't take that long to report a pothole. But if we all do it, we may well see an increase in the amount of repairs carried out to our roads and a reduction in the cost of all our fellow motorists' pockets in dealing with pothole repairs. I have seen people making up tourist signs highlighting attention to the stunning pothole on a road. I've even seen a social media account where a chap uses his child's toys, little diggers and little workmen, and sets them up to make like a quarry effect in the pothole itself. But I would just encourage everyone watching in whatever area, and let me know what the pothole situation is like where you live. There is no doubt even certain regions within the UK that are relatively good when it comes to potholes, and other regions are particularly bad. I live in Kent. We get a lot of traffic. A lot of the deliveries that come over from the continent drive through the county of Kent. And as a result of that, our roads are particularly bad. But I have to say, they're certainly better than they were maybe 10 years ago. There was a particular decline 10 years ago and things are a little better, but they are worsening slightly. Let me know what you think of this topic. Please boot the like button if you've enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. That really does help us when the algorithm sees people subscribing to our content. And don't miss out on this video and this playlist that I've lined up for you. Thanks for watching. See you in this next video.